This is the Blood Red podcast from the Liverpool Echo, giving you the inside track on all the big talking points from Anfield.
A very good afternoon and welcome to the Blood Red podcast, brought to you by the Liverpool Echo. There's a Christmas tree going up in the Echo office this afternoon, but unfortunately that is pretty much where the Christmas cheer is ending at the moment. In fact, the only gifts that are being handed out are 3 points and 3 goals by Liverpool themselves. We're going to dissect that shortly, but before I do that, I will introduce you to our panel today, two very esteemed members of the Liverpool Echo team. First of all, Ian Doyle, how are you doing today?
I am okay, thank you. What about yourself, Richard?
Fair to middle, mate. I'm okay.
Are you under the weather or over the moon?
Somewhere in the middle. I'd say I was equidistant between low weather and a high moon. Mark!
Follow that, yeah.
Yeah, Mark, how are you?
I'm all right. Yeah, I was a bit under the weather probably about 5-6 days ago, but I've got through it now, and so I'm kind of approaching the moon, I'd say. Yeah.
Would you? Well, you're approaching the moon, not quite over it.
Approaching the moon. I'm not quite on the moon.
What would get you over the moon?
What would get me over the moon? Just Liverpool being good at football would be all right, wouldn't it?
That would be helpful, wouldn't it? So that's why we're here at the end of the day.
Okay.
I'm afraid. So to talk about Liverpool and their current plight, I'll take you through some of the highlights. 9 defeats in the last 12 matches, 6 Premier League defeats in the last 7 matches, 10 goals conceded in the last 3 matches, 20 Premier League goals conceded in 12 matches, 12th in the table, worst run in 71 years. Ian Doyle, should Arne Slot be sacked?
Wow, that was the easy one there. Well, I wrote that he should be sacked if it continues for the next 3 games. So I think that is going to be key. Starting with West Ham away on Sunday. Then they've got 2 promoted teams, Sunderland at home on Wednesday and Leeds away on the Saturday evening, 5:30. And by which I mean that if they lose those 3, then it does become untenable. I don't think they will lose all 3, which is a completely different point. I don't think people who were saying in the wake of the PSV Eindhoven game that he should be sacked. I think that was wrong. We could go into this, and I think we will be going into it very shortly as to why that's the case. But these next 3 games are very important because it's now built to a point where there are people suggesting that Slot should go, and there's quite a lot of credence behind that for some people. Some people don't see why that would be an issue anymore. Whereas you could say in the international break, after they just lost 3-0 to Man City, having come off the back of 2 wins against Villa and Real Madrid, despite the fact it was still a poor run of what would have been 7-10, no one was realistically saying that he should go because he won the Premier League title 6 months ago, and he got handed an awful lot of money in the summer to rebuild a squad that needed to be rebuilt. So, no, I don't think he should be sacked, but I'm pretty sure that if this continues over the next 3 games, Liverpool, the hierarchy, will have no option but to revisit it because that would be, 12 in 15, and that's pretty horrific for any football club, let alone one that was they are the reigning champions of England.
Yeah, it's easy to forget that in the current climate. Are you on the same page, Mark, or do you see things a little bit differently?
No, I think if in the world where they lose the next 3, I mean, everyone's pretty down at the minute, but just imagine what that looked like in a week's time if they were to have lost those 3 matches. And I think if that was the case and they lost those games, it would have got to a point where I think it was probably irretrievable for any sort of hope or any kind of idea that he could rebuild what obviously was there and what has just sort of completely drained away, hasn't it? And for the majority of the season. So yeah, I think I'm not of the opinion that he should go now. I think the Forest and the PSV games, it's the scoreline. The scorelines just jar at you, don't they? Just looking at those 2 results, and I was thinking. So I went to my first match in 1993, and I'd be thinking in that time, how many times have you seen them lose by 3 goals at Anfield? And you've just seen it twice in 5 days. I wasn't at that Palace game. That's another one now. So,
I've got the hat trick.
Yeah, so you've got you've got all 3. I've only got 2, but you are talking about huge kind of just a huge difference in. I saw the other day it was 7 months since the Spurs game when they won the league. So that's 7 months on, and this is the situation that they found themselves in. But no, I think there's a couple of things that for me, kind of nip all talk of sacking in the bud right now. Is the league is so close anyway, and there are three matches they've got now. I mean, we've sat here before and we went through, I remember in the last international break, and we looked at all the fixtures that were to come, and Forest and PSV were at the head of that, and you're thinking, home to Forest, home to PSV, there's a couple of wins, and that could get things going. It hasn't happened. But I think I don't see the point in sacking him now. Now, as Ian says, I think just imagine what that looks like in a week if they have lost all three, maybe two of the three. I think then it's another conversation, because I think all the words that have come out after PSV, you've seen the Van Dijk little statement has gone out there today. Kind of these are attempts, aren't they, to get everyone galvanised and get them all going, which is very difficult at the minute. But I don't think it's at that stage at the moment. I really don't, for him to be dismissed. But I mean, things change in football very quickly, so we'll see.
What do you think, Richard?
I'm glad you asked. I do agree with both your points of view. And the one thing I would say, if he loses the next three, or they don't get good results in the next three, then it's going to look really bad.
What would you say?
But it looks really bad now.
Yeah, what would you say good results over the next three? That's for all of us. I think a minimum of 5 points. Yeah, 2 draws and a win. If you draw the 2 away and win the home one, it's like, well, kind of, it's not brilliant to be chasing the title, but if you're just a team that's looking for that top 4,
and there's a world where they draw at home to Sunderland, and you know what Anfield would be like that evening, wouldn't you? So that you'd almost.
If you're going to win one, you want to win the game against Sunderland. They need to get the home, and they're not on side, but they need to show them something.
Yeah, I honestly think draws is not a bad thing. I'm pretty sure I said this the other week.
Yeah, they don't draw though.
There's still no draws. There's absolutely no draws. So if you're playing bad, the thing is, they're not only just playing bad. If you're shipping 3 goals a game, you've got no chance of even getting a draw, have you? So there's a fundamental issue there.
These 2 away games, West Ham and Leeds, are, you looked at those at the start of the season and go 3 points there, but given everything that's happened and how they've crumbled under this sometimes minimal pressure they come under, to be able to go to if they can go to West Ham and put in a performance and it ends in a draw, all right, it's not great, but at least there's been a bit of fight there, and I think that for each game, I think it's easy to say they need to win, they need to draw, whatever, but I think you just want to see a change in performance now. You want to see a change in mindset, personnel. I know we'll come on to, but there needs to be a shift. There needs to be something in these next 3 games that shows that this isn't going to go on forever, because right now it feels like it is going to go on forever.
Well, let's drill into that a little bit more then, because the other night I came out of Anfield Slot out in my mind. This can't go on like this. This is just absolutely ridiculous. Can't continue. But I've definitely mellowed on that a little bit since then. Okay, but obviously, there's got to be an upturn in results. There's got to be an upturn in performances. But the thing that I can't get past, right, is that those players look like they down tools the other night. They look like they've given up. They weren't playing for the manager. And if the manager's lost the players, he's a dead man walking, as far as I'm concerned. Unless you can find a way of turning that around, I don't see how he's going to be able to do that with the players that he's got at his disposal. He spent absolutely millions, the most they've ever spent on buying footballers, and the team's come out worse. It's easier to remove a manager than it is to remove a whole team of players. So the question is, has he lost that?
Well, what
can he do?
What I'd say on that, if he has lost the players, say to the players, what happens if you're all with me and back what I'm doing? What happens? The answer is you win the league. Not saying they're going to win it this year now, but there's an example of the manager came in, and in fact, all the people were saying, like, he inherited Klopp's team. Well, that's a perfect example of what happens then, because no one new came in apart from Kayes, who didn't really play that much last season.
Yeah.
So these were all new players. So it was a new manager for all of these players, and they would have been new players for the manager as well. They all worked together, and they ended up winning the league. So that's an example of what can happen when they all work together. I know some of the players have changed, but most of them are still there. 8 of the 11 who started against PSV won the league last year. And I know there are many reasons as to why they've been playing the way that they have. And injuries is a small part of it, but there's also adaptation for certain players, and we could spend all day talking about Alexander Isak, and although it wouldn't take us long to talk about what he's done, which is not very much so far. Having just recorded a podcast with Sweden earlier, Sweden, the whole country, the whole country, the Swedish news outlet earlier today, and yes, no, funnily enough, that you've managed to lose most of the listenership there, and
lost our younger viewers.
Exactly. Well, I'd say younger, anyone under the age of 40. So that's what I'd say. I'd say, look, we need to stick together. I mean, when was it? 2002-03, where Liverpool went something like 12 or 13 league games without winning a game. That felt like they were never going to win one ever. Then they won one at Southampton. So it's not unusual for I'm going to hit you with the stat that I was hit you with earlier today in the office. That when was the last time a reigning English champion lost 9 out of 12 games the following season?
Was it last year?
Yes, Man City last year. And they ended up, theirs was even worse. They won only 1 out of 13. And something to learn from that is I think they then won 3 and drew 2 the next 5. But then after that, they then lost 6 out of 12 again. So they had another dip. It wasn't as bad as that one. And it's because they were coming out of a team that had reached the end of the line. They just got a bit too old, and Guardiola hadn't realised that until the season was a few months in. This time round, Liverpool's team last season reached the end of the line because so many of them are no longer playing for the club for various reasons, and most of them are probably out of Liverpool's hands.
Well, City threw a lot of money around
in January and didn't get it right initially, and then they'd done a bit better in the summer because they saw that what needed changing. And I think, and I wrote this ages ago, is that it is a case of Liverpool building a new team, and most time that people build new teams, no matter who you are, you do not get it right first time. When Liverpool won the title in, this is like going off what my dad says because he is old, Shankly went 7 years without winning anything between the title in 66 and the title in 73, and he had to build one new team. It wasn't right, so then he built another one after that, and then they ended up being the one that Bob Paisley took over. Bob Paisley took over that team, built one good team. Then when he was about to build another one at the start of the 80s, he finished 5th. I know it sounds mad now, but 5th was like a massive blow for Liverpool in 80-81.
Take it now.
And then the start, the following season at Boxing Day, they were down to 12th. But then they turned it around by changing the players around, and that's when you then had players like, Rush came in, Nickel, Dalglish, Craig Johnston, players like Ronnie Whelan, he's another one, Grobbelaar, the keeper, So that is an example of you don't always get it right first time when you're building a team. And what we've seen this season, certainly in the summer, is probably, as we've said loads of times, is what you might have expected from Slot last year when he's, normally manager comes in, changes loads of things around. I mean, he chose not to do that, or Liverpool chose not to do that because there was so much behind-the-scenes disruption. But this time round, they'd had to change stuff, and not all of them will work out, and we're still in the process of working out which ones are going to work out.
Now, I can live with all that. Right, I can live with rebuild and not being successful all the time, or having bad spells and going again. And I'm still gonna be there regardless of how well the team's doing. But the game is very different now to as it was then, isn't it? Because money talks. The whole thing is driven, I'm afraid to say, by money. If you don't finish in the Champions League, you miss out on.
I'll tell you what's not driven by money: regional journalism.
I have nothing to say about that whatsoever. Okay, so but I suppose the point I'm trying to make is, even if fans and time-served journalists want to to give the process the patience that it, whether it deserves or not, I don't know, but it perhaps respects, doesn't mean the board doesn't mean the paymasters of Liverpool FC.
What I would say on that is that FSG have only ever appointed and sacked one manager, and that was Brendan Rodgers. And the only reason they ended up sacking Brendan Rodgers when they did is because Jurgen Klopp became available.
And there's no one available now of note.
Well, no, exactly. No, there's no one out there that would immediately come in, as far as I'm concerned. So there's no point.
And it's not, we can talk about good managers in the Premier League and things like that, but I don't think you saw it in the summer when around the whole Gay situation and Palace were petrified of losing Glasner, weren't they? And it's not as easy for let's say Liverpool did sack Slot. I don't think they can just turn up at a Premier League club and say, "We'll have your manager, please." Like, these clubs have money themselves now, and they are competing for money. You know, every place in the Premier League is worth X amount of millions, isn't it? And it's the same reason they don't need to sell their players either. You know, it's not good. It wouldn't be as easy as Liverpool rocking up and saying, "We'll have your manager" in the middle of a season. So that's another reason why you wouldn't. You know, you have to be very, very certain that things have gone irretrievable to get rid of him. Well, now I think.
I don't think FSG are even thinking of sacking him, to be honest. And I think part of the reason for that is that it took them 2-3 months. They had that strange period, didn't they, where Klopp had said, "I'm going." So, but gave them time to finally decide on who they wanted to replace. For normally, managers go and then someone has to come in within 2 or 3 weeks. That's why you get caretaker managers knocking around for a few games, then they disappear. Whereas they took all that time to decide that it was Slot, and then to have it immediately rewarded with winning the Premier League. Probably part of their ego will go, "Well, we don't want to sack him now because we've not only been rewarded by him already with a title that he's won as many titles as Klopp won, let's not forget, that we then gave him all this money in which our new sporting director and the new recruitment team went, here are these players." I know Slot would have had input, but we know quite well the way that it works is that they'll have gone, right, these are the players we're looking at, whether it's you.
And he was happy to be set that role as well.
That's why he's the head coach. That's why he's the head coach.
Yeah, I think there'll be more players to come as well. Yeah. That's the thing. It's all part of it.
Well, there would have been Gay.
Yeah.
Gay, and there's probably going to be a defensive midfielder either in January, well, not in January, but almost certainly next season. My thing with Liverpool at the moment, and we'll get on to something else in a bit, is that they have got so obsessed with future-proofing. Like, they've gone, Kirkes, we can bring him in, and he'll be our left-back for a few years. We've got Isak, we can spend... Ekatiké's only 23. He can be one of our forward options for years to come. Oh, we've got Wirtz, he's only 22. You know, they've forgotten about now. And while you look at Diaz went, that's future-proofing because they didn't want to sell him for a lot less money next year. If for the here and now, the best thing would have been to keep him and to keep Quanta. But they were never going to do that because they were already looking 2 steps ahead. And I think they've probably been guilty of not keeping as close an eye on things now. And you can understand that because they won the Premier League last year. So it's not as if they're going from like, oh, we need to keep on progressing really to get up there again. They actually were up there and were up there and clearly the best team last season.
Well, I didn't hear too many people complaining when Quanta left.
Well, I was, to be fair. I did.
Okay. Well, we'll put you in that group.
Yeah.
Of
being awkward. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that in your natural habitat.
Exactly.
And Diaz was another one, popular player, done very well for Liverpool. Good money for him. I think I read this week that apparently Richard used like the sound of it. The deal that was on the table for him, he could have stayed, maybe, but
we've spoken about it before. I think there's 2 things that exist with Diaz, and 2 things can be right at the same time. You know, he was a good player for Liverpool. Losing him has eventually made the team poorer because he was a very important player in a side that won the league. But it's always also a good deal for them to get for a 28-year-old, 29, whatever he was.
Yeah.
So 2 things can be true at once with that.
Yeah.
I said it at the time. I thought it was, I'd like to have had him for 1 more year, but I understand they wouldn't be getting that money, 60-odd million, 50-odd million for him the following year. So you can't have everything at once, and Quanta, another one, it's obviously there's PSR issues around that, isn't there, when you're selling your homegrown players. So, these things, these things do have answers. It's just, it's very easy to sit here, 9 defeats in 12 and go, it'd be nice if Diaz and Quanta were in the team, wouldn't it? Those are the decisions that they took in the summer. They gambled a little bit with what they've done. The gamble isn't paying off.
I also think it's a little bit cheeky of some fans to complain about Diaz not being there when, at the end of the previous season, when Liverpool were linked with Anthony Gordon, they were doing all this revisionism and saying, oh, Diaz isn't that good, really. We could just get rid of him. He hasn't got much of an end product. And then, of course, the following season, he ends up playing unbelievably well and they win the league.
Yeah, well, we're all experts in hindsight, aren't we? You know what I mean? So, I don't want to digress too far from the point I want to discuss about Slot, though. So we're kind of saying, right, barring an absolute disaster in the next 3 games, which would basically be repeating what's just gone before us, Slot's to stay for now and try and sort this mess out.
Yeah.
Okay. What about the players? What about the attitude of the players? Because I think the attitude kind of stinks a bit. to be honest with you. Something is not right there whatsoever. I don't know whether it's egos or complacency at having been league champions, or some players are thinking that winning one league's enough, or there's...
So which players think that?
Well, I wouldn't want to...
No, name them. I want you to name them, because I'll make a point. I'm not bullying you at this point. I just want to know what you...
to be subject of a legal charge.
All right, then. Well, you know what? I'll name some players who've won the league. So you've got Alisson Becker. You've got Virgil van Dijk.
Yeah.
You've got Mohamed Salah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Two of which got new contracts.
But all three of them have now won the league twice. So it isn't an complacency, is it? They've shown that they can go off again and win it again. So if anybody wanted to go down that road, that's the little answer to that one.
Okay. So the attitude of the team still stinks. I stand by that.
Do you think so?
I think so, yeah.
Do you think they're not trying? And the reason I ask that is because this is the one thing that just talking generally now, is that when players, no matter what team it is, they say, like, oh, they're not trying. It's like, that never, ever, ever happens. It never happens, because the minute one player doesn't try, is the other 10 teammates just turn on them and go, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Right. And there's no way that all 11 of them are not trying, because therefore they're all just kind of ignoring what everybody else is doing because they know they're not trying and nobody else is trying. So
there's an argument they're trying too hard. Some of them.
Yeah.
They're trying too hard to like justify their place in the team or play themselves into form.
They're a team that are completely bereft of confidence.
Yeah.
Completely bereft.
I can
completely bereft of confidence. And it's very rare for a champion team, which is what they are, to have that. And something that I wrote this week is about, and I'll now go through them, is about when you are in charge of a football club or a football squad, or in fact any sporting squad, where there's a number of years, is that you can't, nothing's guaranteed, and you have to make certain assumptions when you're building a squad. And for Liverpool, almost every single one that they kind of assumed or had an expectancy of happening over the summer, almost all of them haven't happened. And we're talking stuff like Trent goes, and you go, okay, but we've got Conor Bradley, and we know Conor Bradley's been a bit injury prone, but we've built, we've worked on his fitness and his body, and now we're going to assume that he's going to be able to play more games in a row. And obviously he's been injured twice this season. That's not happened. You look at people like the decision to give Salah and Van Dijk a contract. You go, well, we know they're in the 30s, getting towards the mid-30s. We know we're probably not going to get 2 full seasons of absolute excellence out of them, but we'll get at least one. That hasn't happened for various reasons. You look at letting Gerald Quanta go, which we mentioned before. We go, well, it's okay because we've got Leone coming in who can cover, gets injured first game. Same reason with Mark Gay. He says, we'll get him in. That didn't happen. It's okay. We've got Leone and we've also got Gomez. Leone gets injured first game. Gomez, since transpires, he has been struggling with fitness, and he's always had that over the past, he has hardly featured over the past 11 months, hasn't he, since he did his hamstring at West Ham last time, just over Christmas. You would think Wirtz, give him a bit of time to adapt. He'll be okay after that. Still hasn't adapted. But it's okay because Kirkes is coming in. He's played in the Premier League before, so he won't need time to adapt. But he has done because he's not been able to play at that club like Liverpool's level. Although the last couple of games, I think he's actually been all right in terms of bringing a bit of fight. You make the decision on Isak and go, okay, he's not had his summer of preparation as normal, but he'll be okay after a month or so. 3 months down the line, he's not, because he's not been able to play as often because the team isn't doing as well. And in any case, he's got injured and he's lost his form completely. So there's a few more. I can't remember off the top of my head, but there's so many things that they had thought, well, it's reasonable to assume that's probably going to be the case. And you don't expect all of them to be correct. 1 or 2 will not work out as planned. Like even Harvey Elliott, we'll let him go because him and Tyler Morton and Quanta have just not been getting enough minutes. And you look at the team now, if you would, on Sunday, you'd put Harvey Elliott. I know he's not been playing for Villa, but just assuming he stayed at Liverpool and been around the squad, you put him in the squad, I'd probably play him.
Yeah, he would definitely
play him against West Ham. Quanta would be playing. That is a little bit of hindsight, but that's because the club have made these decisions and gone, it's reasonable to assume that they would not be playing. But all of those things have gone against them. And, you can't control all of them. So they've been a bit unlucky in that respect. But that's why the conversation has gone away. I think the conversation's now gone away from, here's all the reasons why Liverpool aren't very good. And I think that's kind of stopped. Now it's moved on to, okay, Liverpool aren't very good and they've all these problems. Great, underlined. What are we going to do now? And I think it's the reaction. And I think the Forest game, there was a terrible reaction to going 1-0 down. PSV was different. I thought they were absolutely hopeless in the first 15 minutes, and I mean genuinely bad. You saw that Mamardashvili, Alisson, another one. He's not. You assume he's going to be fit for certain. He's not missed. He's missed quite a few games already.
Yeah.
Now, Mamardashvili gets the ball, and the crowd straight away realised nobody's showing for this. Yeah. Nobody wants this ball, and it took for them to go 1-0 down, and then they had another 5 or 10 minutes where they were just all over the place. But as soon as they scored to equalise, the rest of the half hour, they were fine. They could have got a couple of goals. They were up. They had PSV pushback. PSV were just hacking it away anywhere. And at half time, I can tell you now in the press room, we were all like, God, this might actually be a game where they win. Let's just hope they get it sorted quite handy so we're not messing about at the end. And of course, it turns out they did get it sorted handy, so we weren't messing about at the end. But it was the wrong team. Yeah. And that's the reaction that's worrying. So
you saw the second goal; it just all drains out. And I think from your point about the attitude of the players, I think there is, we can list off, as Ian's done there, all the things that haven't gone right. And I think in that world, you then put that onto the pitch. And I think there is a thing where the players are just a bit fed up of the whole situation, and the confidence has gone, and they almost feel, I think they're a bit puzzled themselves, and they're perhaps looking around at some of their teammates and wondering, why are you doing this? Why are you, which you saw, I think you saw a bit of with Kanate, with the goal the other night. A couple of players glancing over to him, almost throwing hands in the air as if to say, what's going on here? So I think all of these things are adding up. And then when you put them onto the pitch and things aren't going right, I think that's when we are seeing these worrying things where the confidence just drains, and they seem to lose, they lose the sense of themselves, the sense of their ability, and players who 7-8 months ago were flying around the pitch and were looking fantastic. So I think it's a huge mental thing what's gone on with them, and the worrying sign is you're not entirely sure how that gets fixed, but you can see a world where it does get fixed and they do recover from it. So it just seems to have been one thing after the other. But my biggest issue is, you saw it with the Forest goal, you saw it first goal, and with the PSV second, just how they react to adversity, and it just seems as though that's the large issue that they have that they're not able to overcome at the minute.
And this is very much a recent thing, because when they went to Crystal Palace, were terrible in the first half. But second half, they were a lot better, got 1-1 and should really have drawn that game. Chelsea, they went 1-0 down, got back, should have at least drawn that game. Man United, they should have won that game, let alone lost, and they went behind in that one again. So it's just that they keep on going behind, and they've shown quite a few times. I mean, even PSV, they got back to 1-1 and they were the better team in the first half. But there's only so many setbacks that they can take before they've just gone, oh, not another one.
Yeah.
And again, I think that comes from other stuff that happened in the summer as well. And I think there is just this kind of, not again. What else can possibly go wrong now?
I think with Forest, the nature of the Forest goal, the first goal, where they're checking it, and you just know they're all standing there going, 2 weeks ago you took this goal off us, and you're doing this now, and you're going to give it, and they're almost just waiting for that to happen. And it's not an attitude that they, it can't be sustainable having that attitude when you're playing matches every 3-4 days, because it leads to, frankly, embarrassing results that we've seen in the last couple of games.
And this happened to Liverpool in 2022-23. This happened to them in 2020-21, where they just lost a load of games in succession. And I think it was the Leicester away game, wasn't it, where Klopp, where they got beat 3-1, and he was like, oh, this is, there's no fans in there, this, that and the other. Totally different situation, but still the feeling is, what more can possibly go wrong? And I think that's the point that Liverpool reached on Wednesday. And I think what I would say is, one thing, there was some jeers at full time. You wouldn't know you're gone.
Oh,
you'd get it. You'd gone. Yeah,
well out of the building.
There was some jeers, but not many. I mean, it wasn't like Everton-esque.
No. Leave that to the experts. Yeah,
sorry, Ian. I did cover them for a long time, so I know what I'm talking about. So there's a kind of acceptance amongst fans that they understand why it is, right? But for 3 of the last 5 home games, they've lost 3-0, 3-0, and 4-1. and there will come a point that if it carries on going, if the fans turn on the team and the manager, which they haven't shown any sign of doing it so far, none whatsoever. This is the match-going fans, by the way, not necessarily mean the people online.
Different world.
Because whether you like it or not, people who pay money to go and watch a game, or people who pay big money to invest in the club, whether it's, buy a load of memorabilia or shirts or whatever, merchandise, that kind of thing, they're always their words are always going to carry more weight than people who are just, not saying they're not fans as such, but they're not quite as invested either emotionally or fiscally in the team. That's a good word, isn't it? You don't say that too often. Yeah, thank you. Only because I couldn't think of anything else to say. Financially was the word I was looking for.
Prefer fiscally.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, the team will get a lot of support at West Ham on Sunday, won't they? The fans who go down there will get behind them, and that's not going to stop. I think anytime soon. It's just, as you say, I mean, you worry about Sunderland if West Ham goes badly. You worry about the Sunderland game because, against the side who've looked half decent this season, there's a concern there.
I'm worried about Sunderland. I'm worried about West Ham. I'm worried about Leeds United. I'm worried about all three of them.
Do you think you'd be saying those words into that microphone this season?
No, I did not. These are things you never thought you'd say. Yeah, it's look, you've made compelling cases for. I wouldn't say you defended the players' attitudes, but perhaps you sort of tried to contextualise
I'm not defending
the situation. But someone has to take responsibility.
Yeah.
Right? And we're not going to sack the manager. Right? So is it time to start bombing a few players?
Who'd you bring in?
Manager-wise?
No, players.
Oh, players. Well,
I know you're going to pick the team in a bit.
Yeah,
but this is the problem that Liverpool have got more than anything, is that you look at the team and you go, right, what's the changes you can make? And you go, there's actually not that many.
Well, I mean, that's just ridiculous, isn't it?
That's just a statement of fact.
We spent nearly £500 million, as someone said to me the other day.
£500
million on players, and we can't make changes. We're not playing well.
But the problem is that once, and any team, no matter how much you spend, no money or loads of it, if you've got 2 or 3 injuries in the same position, suddenly you're moving everybody around, and suddenly it's like, oh, now where do you take the hit? You don't want to take it in defence for a team that's conceded so many goals in the season.
Well, yeah, and okay, let's look at that then, because 10 goals conceded in the last 3 matches, 20 Premier League goals conceded in 12 matches. Liverpool League, too many goals. A clean sheet is an endangered species. We thought we turned a corner with clean sheets against Aston Villa and Real Madrid.
They've kept clean sheets against Arsenal and Real Madrid.
Okay,
it's like how do you tie that with what's going on?
Make it make sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe you're right. Maybe this is just a weird season. Weird things are happening.
Yeah, exactly.
And whatnot. But I don't think that's gonna stand up in court. So we basically, there needs to be a way of just stopping these goals going in, and surely that is the basis. So if you do make defensive changes or whatever, do you go to West Ham? We've got to win that match, or do you go to West Ham saying we've got to not lose that match and basically not concede goals, shut up shop, and just get back to basics?
I think that's how you could start out. First half hour, first 20 minutes, half an hour. I've got no problem with them making it quite ugly and playing for territory a little bit and just stopping the kind of flow towards Liverpool, because I think the longer it stays 0-0, I think they can build themselves into the game, and that's the mad thing is, all these players that are there, they have incredible individual quality, and you just know that they would be able to produce something out of nothing almost and score a goal or win the game. So I wouldn't be against that attitude going into. Obviously, they're not going to go there and play for a draw, but they're going to, they just to go and just safety first almost for the first half hour of the game, first half. There's absolutely no problem with it being 0-0 at half time. Same as PSV. I had no problem with it being 1-1, and with 10 minutes to go, and they were attacking. Liverpool were, the first half. I think PSV only had that one shot. It was a penalty, wasn't it? They had nothing else. Yeah. They weren't getting hurt or anything like that. It's just this ability to shoot yourself in the foot almost, and allow sides confidence, allow them momentum in the game, and chances that. Every chance seems to go in, and it's I've got no problem. Yeah, well, I know what comes to teams, but I've got no issue with them playing in a way that is a bit more safety first. Now, whether it'll happen, I don't know, because I think Slot is a very he's proud of his tactics and he's proud of his approach that he wants to input into the team. and almost you wonder if he's thinking, well, we're going to get out of this, but we're going to get out of it my way.
Well, his way appears to be playing midfielders as fullbacks.
But he's never had a situation like
centre-backs
this in his career, has he? He's never had a difficult situation like this in his career. You know, this is the first time it's ever going badly wrong for him. And you look at Jurgen Klopp's career, for example. Jurgen Klopp was used to battling relegation when he was at Mainz and things like this. He's used to going away maybe and getting a draw when that would be considered a decent result. So that's my concern. Is I wonder if Slot is thinking, well, I'm trying all the things that I know work and they're not working, and I wonder if he's just going to double down on it.
Well, this is what Guardiola had last year, and he ended up changing his philosophy slightly.
Yeah,
and I wonder whether or not in the long term that's what. Well, Slot's already mentioned, as he said, the Premier League's changed.
Yeah,
and going back to what we was talking about, the defence and does Slot need to make it safety first? When he first came in, it was literally the first thing he did.
Yeah.
The first thing he did was we're conceding too many goals. And at the start of last season, they just went loads of games but conceding hardly any goals. And the team, don't forget, this was a team that had Trent Alexander-Arnold in, who apparently can't defend at all. So it's almost like that's not really true. Weird, that is. Weird, that, isn't it? Really weird. So, yeah, there's that. What I would say on Sunday is the best thing that could possibly happen to Liverpool is if they get absolutely battered and then they just make loads of blocks, clearances off the line, goalkeeper makes a couple of good saves, defenders just get in the way, and then they go up the other end and get a late goal and win 1-0. Because that would, A, be a win, which would be a miracle in itself, B, a clean sheet, and C, it would remind the players that they can do what they did so many times last season, and it will be, obviously, if it goes the way that happened, it would be a bit of fortune, which is something they've not had. So that could be... I mean, I'd rather they win 5-0. I know it's dead easy, but what I'm saying is that for them, long term, possibly something like that happens on Sunday. What could be the best thing for them?
What you've described there is exactly what I want to happen. Not that I want them to be back to the wall against West Ham, you know what I mean? But I want to see evidence of that determination, that resilience.
It'd nice to have like a dodgy penalty or something, wouldn't it?
Yeah, whatever. Outtake off Alexander Isak's backside into net. If they can defend like lions, show the attitude that is a prerequisite of playing for Liverpool Football Club, keep a clean sheet and get a result. Do you know what I'll do? When Mrs. Garnett serves the Sunday roast, I will go to the Co-op, get that nice bottle of French rosé, the one with the cocker on the front that's normally £9, and even if it's not on offer with my card, I'll buy it because I'll be that pleased.
It'll be a £9 win.
What kind of rosé is it?
It's like a dry one.
They're not as good. They're not as
you
good.
don't like a sweet one, do you?
Better than dry.
I'm sure if we can work together now.
I prefer red wine anyway. So
fair enough.
Definitely not white.
What's your favourite? What's your favourite red?
Probably at the moment, I'd probably say a Merlot at the moment. Or Malbec, sorry. Malbec.
Primitivo the other day. That was quite nice.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. I've dropped that in there, haven't I? I've dropped that in.
Tough one. I'd have to say the best of Shiraz.
No.
Yeah. Again, not many people are going to get that on.
No. There you go. So we have digressed slightly onto wine. It's a different podcast. We're considering.
I think we should. Should we do one?
Yeah. I think call it Top Bins. See, did the man close to 50 nearly high-five me then?
Yeah. And sorry, how old are you again?
40, over 45.
If you forgot. Don't trust me, when you get to 40, you just lose count.
Yeah. I look forward to that very soon, actually. Yeah.
Liverpool's dogged defence we're looking for.
Yes, that's right. Correct.
Yeah, let's go.
Well, I think it's.
Do they need to make changes?
No, I'm going to say I think it's more Liverpool dog in midfield.
Okay.
I think that's more. I genuinely think it's the midfield that's been an issue for the last couple of weeks. I think McAllister, while he was good against. To be fair, he was good against Villa and he was good against Real Madrid. And Graham Birch has mainly been good this season, but the last couple of games, the pair of them have not been great.
No.
Not been great in the second half in particular. They seem to have lost their discipline, and I don't know whether the discipline has come from, as Mark said, trying a bit too hard, or it's come from the way that Slot wants the team to play is obviously kind of high press, but also while keeping control, right? And you need to be switched on to do both of those things. And if you've got any hesitancy in your game, which comes from a lack of confidence, which comes from losing games, which comes from, even if it's just for a split second, second guessing what you want to do or having a bit more of a think about it because you're not sure whether it's going to work or not, this all contributes. And if you're playing in midfield and neither of you are a recognised defensive midfielder and you're put together because you are known for filling in those gaps, Gravenberch in particular, coming across and getting in the way of things. If you're not able to do that, as was seen with the second goal for PSV on Wednesday, I know a lot of people had to go at Salah, but he's well within his rights to go, well, he's got past me, I'm the right winger, so the whole of the team is behind, where are they all? You know what I mean? It's like, it's not as if he didn't try to stop him, but once he gets past him, there's no...
I mean, it was minimal.
But once he gets past him, like, I'm sure Salah's gone past 1,000,001 wingers. You know what I mean? It's like, wingers, not even fullbacks. I'm on about wingers.
Yeah.
You'd expect the fullback to be coming across, but the fullback is not a fullback. He's a midfielder. You'd expect the central midfielders to slide across. Where were they? And then the centre backs are completely exposed, and then they're not sure whether to play offside or not. And Kirkes follows the man in, and that's why it's a goal and not offside. So,
well, that's too easy, isn't it?
That's too easy. It's too easy. Yeah. Once you get past one player, you shouldn't be able to then run straight at or play a ball straight through the back line.
Is that evidence of players not working hard enough for each other?
But this goes back to what I was just saying. I haven't actually watched the replay back, but where Liverpool have presumably been on the attack or been on an attack, and maybe they're just trying a bit too hard to try and get a goal, and then that goes back to what we were saying before about they got to just maybe take a step back, 1 yard back, 2 yards back, and go, right, let's just keep what we've got and see where we go with this. We've got to trust ourselves, our forward line, to get us something or create something. And maybe that's a problem as well, because Liverpool's attack after those first couple of weeks is just not, they didn't score against City, they didn't score against Forest, they only got 1 against Real Madrid, they got 2 against Villa, but 1 was a deflection, 1 was given to them. They didn't score against Palace in the League Cup, and that's something else. So if you got a defence that's leaking goals in midfield that people are running through, an attack that's not functioning, then you're in a bit of trouble, to be fair.
That'll explain why you conceded 10 goals in 3 matches, won't it? And scored,
so it's
1.
Again, it's not hard to see what the problems are.
Well, there's so many.
And that's why we can stop talking about that. Now we need to start talking about, right, what are we going to do now?
Yeah. Do you think they've had crisis talks this week? Do you think they've had
crisis talks every single day?
Yeah, they need it, don't they? You can't, this isn't stuff that you can push under the mat, is it? The home truths need to be shared between players here and the manager.
And I'm sure they are, and I'm sure there are lots of conversations being had around that squad every day. You've got to remember, obviously, they're a group of people who've gone through a lot in the last 5-6 months. Highs and sort of devastating lows, and they have to stick together. There's no. I was saying before about you did see. I saw a couple of little glances from players the other night that you're a little bit concerned by around individual errors that were being made. They can't go on. There's only one way out of this, I think, and they'll put out all the statements on social media that they want, but you need to see it on the pitch now, and I think going to West Ham, as I said, I think I've got no problem with them playing in a way which prioritises that kind of battling quality, because it's been sadly missing against sides who, Nottingham Forest and PSV. Forest obviously played okay. PSV, they'd have swept them aside last season. It wouldn't even been a question. They'd have turned up to those 2 games and won them easily. So. And to concede 7 goals at home, it has to be, as Ian says, it has to be a bit of a line in the sand. And the emphasis now is how do you get out of it? And you can think about it in different ways. West Ham, Nuno, how they're going to play. It's slightly daunting, but use it as an opportunity and go there and mix it with them and go and show that this can get back on the rails, because, as I say, I think it can. I don't think it's completely lost. I really don't. And but they can. It has to start soon. Otherwise, then the manager does come in for real trouble. I think.
Do you think cliques of players could be talking about stuff on the pitch and not being all out in the open? There's new players, there's old players. Some of them have won the league. Some of them have come for big money. Is there any worry about disharmony within the team? No evidence of that.
Don't really think so.
No.
Sorry, I couldn't really answer
I'm
that.
asking the question.
Yeah. Let's be this. I've not seen it, and I'm almost every game at the press conferences and see them around the place and see them in mixed zones. So I've not really seen any evidence of that. I mean, I've not been there for training. I've seen them do open training quite a few times this season. There's not been any of it there either. No. And I know you might be saying, "Oh, they're putting on a face." It's like, what, all the time?
Well, if they were,
we do that.
It's only 2 pods a week.
If they were having any private conversations,
they wouldn't tell us. That's why
they wouldn't tell us. Yes. And if they were smart, they'd do it over a virtual private network.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And if they needed one, we would recommend NordVPN, the sponsor of the Blood Red podcast. To get the best discount off your NordVPN plan, go to nordvpn.com/bloodred. Our link will also give you 4 extra months on the 2-year plan. There's no risk with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee, and the link is in the podcast episode description box below.
Is that the latest it's ever appeared in a podcast?
I've forgotten about it.
Had you forgotten?
I had the link all lined up and I had forgotten. But I never forget about Nord.
No,
because I'm on board with Nord.
Very good.
So
you're a naughty man.
A naughty man. My reputation precedes me. Ibrahima Konate has been slammed by all kinds of people. Ex-players. I'm not going to say journalists. Fans. I won't say current players because we don't know that, thanks to the VPNs in play.
You don't know what they're saying.
Exactly, we don't know anything about that. Should they be dropped, Mark?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
No.
Yes, but he won't be.
Okay. Mark, why should he be dropped?
I just think it's gone beyond now. I think almost you're doing it for the lad himself. He looked completely broken the other night. I think. I know everyone likes to talk about the transfer thing and the contract thing and all that. I just think he's going through a difficult period in his career. The midfield situation isn't helping him. They're not sort of protecting in front of the back four as perhaps they should. He's at a situation. He's just snatching at things, isn't he? You saw for the goal. He's completely lost confidence in his own ability. I think Virgil van Dijk has lost confidence in playing next to him. A couple of little gestures the other night where his almost heads are burnt out a little bit. So I think there's a chance he is dropped actually. But I'm just trying to go in my head in terms of what that would mean for the team because it's difficult because there's not other options available. But I think he should be not. It's not a terminal thing, it doesn't have to mean that he's out of the team forever. He's been kept in, as we've heard from Slot this week, who's spoken about Joe Gomez's injury issues. He's being kept in largely for those reasons. Think about first game of last season when he takes off Kwanzaa at half time and he brings Konate on.
Yeah,
that's the manager showing that he is willing to make decisions. What now? To me, Kwanzaa in that first half against Ipswich, all right, he lost a couple of headers and he lost a couple of challenges or whatever, but it wasn't...
First game of last season.
Season, sorry, yeah. His performance wasn't anywhere near as bad as the ones we're seeing from Konate at the moment. So I think maybe Slot has to just think back to that and think... But obviously the issue being he doesn't really necessarily trust his replacement, but he's going to have to.
Ian, you think he probably won't be dropped?
I would drop him, but I don't think that he will. In fact, I did write this week that he should be not dropped, but given a break for his own good.
It's almost like I haven't been reading your work.
It's all right, no one else does. So during the very long queue. Do you work here, by the way?
I do. Well, sometimes. Just keep turning off. I'm not that guy you see on the train. You're never really sure if he's going to work or not. Yeah. Well, here I am.
If he's not going to work, where's he going? There's probably just pub, isn't it? Sure, it's not just the pub.
He just stays on the train.
I'm sure he's going to the pub.
Yeah. Well, all that. Yeah. He's not told his wife.
Yeah. He hasn't got a wife.
Okay. So Konate could go either way. Could be in, might be out on. I don't think either would be a surprising outcome when the team's announced on Sunday. What's Calvin Ramsey up to?
For about 22 years of age now, I think.
Yeah, he was a Scottish Young Player of the Year when he came from, I think, Aberdeen. he was at, wasn't it? I think it was Aberdeen.
Yeah,
I'm going to say off the top of my head.
Aberdeen is correct. Yes.
And then obviously he had a bad injury straight away. Played a game, I think, in the League Cup or...
Yeah. To cut short your biography of him, I don't think that he is being considered for a start for Liverpool's first team.
Okay.
Are you just suggesting that because he's a right back? Is that what you want?
You've hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, so
we've got a right back issue, and he is a right back and was signed. He was recruited by Liverpool Football Club.
Yeah, but clearly they're not seeing enough quality in him to be part of the sort of extended first team picture, are they? So I think if they did think he was, then he would have been involved by now. I know he's not in the Champions League squad, is he? So he couldn't have played the other night. But
and we're out of the League Cup, so we can't look at him in that either.
But I think the way that Slot thinks, is he would much prefer a footballer of greater quality playing on that side, even if that means it's a midfielder.
Or greater experience.
Yeah, experience. Experience to play in what's a very physical Premier League. You've got a young lad there who's not had much football and a lot of injuries, as you say. I don't mean to knock the lad, but his career clearly hasn't gone the way that was envisaged when they signed him 3.5 years ago. So
it doesn't bode well for him, though, does it? If he's not going to get his chance, I do have a little bit of sympathy with the situation, though, because obviously Liverpool are they're putting out fires here, and it feels like a bit of a risk just to toss him into that and say, go and make a name for yourself. You know what I mean? They're obviously not seeing that to be able to do that. But
no. And there's an argument that would you want to do that as with do you want to throw young players into this situation now? Do you want to throw Rio and Gamora into this team now that are badly underperforming? I don't think you want to expose young players to those sorts of things at the moment. Well, you do apparently.
Well, we're going to get to that in a minute. Actually, that's exactly what I want to do.
Are we going to the teams then?
I think we better add. Yeah. Okay, so let's start with the goalkeeper, which it normally picks itself, but at the moment...
No, I think he's all right, isn't he? Alisson's okay.
Yeah, he was unwell, so it's Alisson starts, yeah.
Alisson, Becker in goal, yeah. I'll take that. Just on Dashvili as well, I think he's done okay. Has he got the same authority as Alisson?
Well, no.
Or is he still a new kid around the block?
Well, no one's got the same authority as Alisson, so...
Or has he got high authority?
Is he under the weather?
Is he over the moon?
I don't know. What I would say, I've said this before, you see Mamardashvili in goal for Liverpool and you don't give it a second thought.
Fair enough. But Alisson's in goal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Back four, I'm going to come to you, Ian, first.
Joe Gomez is right. Sorry, no, he's not. I've decided to rip up the team. And I'm going to change. I'm going to change the formation as well.
Oh.
Okay, well, we'll come to that in a bit. But there will still be four at the back.
Okay, flat back.
Right,
four.
Flat back. Curtis Jones is going to be on the right back.
Yeah.
Joe Gomez and Virgil van Dijk, and I'm going to stick with Kerkez because I think he deserves to stay in.
Okay.
I'm the same, but Robertson for Kerkez. Nothing against Kerkez. I just think it's going to be a bit of a slog on Sunday, and I'd rather Andy Robertson kind of in the trenches. Kerkez can perfectly fine to come on later in the game or something like that. But I think, look, Curtis Jones at right back is not ideal, but I kind of see it as the best solution at the minute. I thought he did okay in midweek. He's obviously good, excellent footballer, and he can join in with the midfield as well. And I think, and it's more about trying to think what else I'm going to do. That I would put him there and say, try and do a conventional right back's job. And then Gomez, we've said about Canate, but I just think it is timed. Even if it does mean he can only play one game a week, Gomez will make it this one and bring Canate back in for Sunderland. I just think it needs that change now, and it's Joe Gomez is Liverpool's longest serving player, and so he's not, he's got relationships with all the players. He's played with Van Dijk, won the league with him, so this isn't a brand new thing. Of course, we question his injuries, and I'm sure he does. Feels like that last injury at Plymouth has really sort of knocked him back, hasn't it? Sort of, he's never really got back from it. So, if it means playing in one game a week, then just get him in for now, because I think a change has to be made there.
So I've changed my mind. I want to put Robertson left back. You talked me into it.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've been reading my pad.
Good save.
You're reaching over. It's like on Countdown, when they've worked it out. having a look because the team changes to you. I reckon when you walked in here, you had Canate in the team.
No, I did not.
You didn't?
No chance.
Okay. All right. I've got Jones at right back.
Yep.
Because I don't know who else to put there.
Yep.
Me at right back.
Not you, mate. No, you're untested in five-a-side or anything yet, so I can't make a judgment call on that. Joe Gomez comes in for Canate. I just can't see any more of it. To be honest with you, need to make that change, and if, and we'll see what happens from there. Virgil van Dijk, and I've got Andy Robertson at left back, and I think I do agree that I think Kirk has done all right in the last couple of games, but I just prefer Robertson. And another thing I'd say on Kirkus as well is one thing he was really good at for Bournemouth was getting down the wing and putting crosses in. We don't seem to want to give him the ball to do that. He's not really getting that opportunity to do that, and that will be reflected further up the pitch in my selections in a minute. So without further ado, let's move into midfield. I'll go with you, Mark, first.
So this is where, I think this is where the change could happen. So I think if you put in Jones at right back, I think he hasn't played well of late, but I do think you have to pick Gravenberch. McAllister's the one I think I'd drop out, and I think I'd unleash Endo for this one. I think I'd just say to him, go and sit in front of the back four, allows Gravenberch to have that bit more of an attacking outlook to him, and then Szoboszlai doing the things that he has done, thankfully, because he's the only one who has this season in being the kind of energy in the midfield. So yeah, I'd drop McAllister out because I just think we touched on it. He just hasn't been the player that we all know he can be. Endo, look, we're not. I mean, it's mad to be here at the end of November and you're hanging your hat on Endo, but I just think why not put him into something like this? Tell him to play for an hour, kick people, get booked, and he can go off. And it might just be something that gets the team going a little bit. So with the energy and the legs of Gravenberch and Szoboszlai around him.
And Szoboszlai being wasted at right back, basically. We can't afford to be about his energy in midfield at the moment, can we? I don't think.
No, I don't think so. And he's very much become the kind of heartbeat of the side, hasn't he?
Absolutely. Ian?
Well, we can do without his energy in midfield because I'm playing him somewhere else.
Oh.
All right. So I would have...
What a curveball.
4-1-4-1 or 4-1-3-2. I haven't quite made my mind up yet.
Okay.
So one is Endo. And Endo is significantly deeper than any other midfielders, and he's staying there and just says, just look after that, right? Now, in my mind, I know the 5 players are, but I can't quite work out where I'm going to play them. But I'll go 4-1-4-1 for now. So ahead of him, I didn't want to play Gravenberch, but I'm going to have to. Right. Okay. Gravenberch and McAllister.
In the middle?
In the middle. On the left, Ekitike, and on the right, Szoboszlai. Because Szoboszlai and Jones can kind of cover for each other down that right flank because they both played right back.
Interesting.
And I think that while Salah's obviously going in the next couple of weeks anyway, this isn't like permanent dropping of him. I just think for this game, I think it might give him a little bit of a kick up the backside as well. And also I just think that he just probably needs a little bit of a spark. And the other thing is he tends to do, I know he had that argument, didn't he, with Slot at West Ham, but he tends to do quite well there.
Yeah.
And I think he's somebody, because there's no way that Ekitike and Isak are going to last the full 90 minutes. So Salah will definitely get on and probably play a significant part of the second half in this made-up team that's never going to get picked. but that's why I would have him on the bench. And without ruining it, it means Isak's up front, so that's the rest of my team.
So you've got Endo sitting in the base.
Yep.
And then a 4 in front of them are McAllister and Gravenberch in the middle.
Yeah.
Ekitike on the left.
Yeah.
And Szoboszlai on the right.
And Isak up front.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Okay, that is something different. We brought something different to the table. I like it. Okay. I didn't do that. I didn't have the foresight. And I'm slightly jealous because I picked the same midfield that's been
we've all gone in
pretty much playing. No.
Oh.
No, sorry. I didn't articulate myself very well there. What I mean
because we're not on a podcast.
I mean, we just had this out, yeah. Didn't want Endo. I must apologise to Wataru Endo for not covering him enough in this podcast, given the fact that he's actually made it into 2 out of 3 sides. But there we go. If he plays well, he can feature more prominently next week, can't he?
He's probably not playing.
And then he won't. I've still got Gravenberch, McAllister, and Szoboszlai in there. And the reason for that is because I nearly put Endo in, I was at Crystal Palace. I don't know if I've mentioned this when we took it was 38 quid and it was a waste of money. He turned a bit like a bus in it.
He was playing centre back.
Yeah, no, well, he still had to turn.
He
looked rusty.
Yeah, but he would do, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I just wasn't.
He's got to get the rust off him some point. So why not now?
Why not in Greenwich?
Yes, yeah. He can have a mean time.
Well, he's not in my team. I mean, nearly missed that.
That was good.
He was, yeah, thanks. It's not even in Greenwich anymore.
It's nowhere near Greenwich.
What are you talking about?
I used to live in Greenwich for 14 years. It's nowhere near
Honestly,
Greenwich.
no, you're London.
Educate me on where...
It is Stratford.
Stratford.
Stratford, East End. Greenwich is southeast.
Is it actually east, though? Is that east? Is that? I've been to Dagenham. Now that's east.
That's
is east.
Yeah.
But that's not London.
It is, isn't it? Is that London?
Dagenham's just a different place, isn't it?
No, it's London.
No, it is
Is it?
London.
So, yeah, isn't it?
Is it?
I tell you what, if there's any Cockneys watching this or Southerners,
I'm trying very hard.
Apologise that we're probably going to be.
I'm trying very hard not to do my Cockney impression, which just involves me doing a lot of swear words. So can we just move on, please?
So we'll just impersonate. We'll leave it at that. I've got Gravenberch. McAllister has somehow survived. I think the only reason he survived this was because I didn't want to make too many changes, and I felt like I was starting to make too many. And which I was going to say reeked of desperation, but we are actually in pretty desperate measures here. I've got Gravenberch, McAllister, Szoboszlai in front of them, and then my front three is Salah. I have actually written Isak because I wasn't sure on Ekitike's fitness.
I think he'll be okay.
If he's okay, I'd probably stick with Ekitike, being honest, because he looks the... well, I say he's the more in form. He hasn't scored for weeks, but he's certainly moving better than Isak is at the moment. And if I can't have Wataru Ende in for rustiness, then Isak should probably wait on the bench for his opportunity. So I've got Salah, I'll go with Ekitike, and Rio Ngamoa on the left-hand side. I've got a little bit bored of Gakpo's safe approach, which teams seem to be reading quite easily. He's had Kerkez coming up and not really using him at all. The irony is he's not in this team either, but that's more to the point of I want to see Ngamoa actually running at players and attacking them. I think Liverpool have been too pedestrianised in the way that they've
pedestrian
play.
Not pedestrian.
Pedestrianised. They've not been laid with tarmac. Or like that horrible road in New Brighton where they put all the orange bits on recently. But they've been a bit ponderous in their build-up, and I'd like to see someone running at defenders. And if Salah's not going to do it, why not Rio Ngamoa?
What was the rest of your team?
Rest of my team was I'd pick Salah. Part of me would like Ekitike to come off the bench if he's not 100% and he can finish the game. So I'm gonna give Isak a go.
Okay.
And I'm Gakpo because Robertson's there, and they've got a good link up.
Gakpo should have scored in each of the last 3 games. He missed the header against PSV. He missed a header against... No, that's Man United. Sorry, that was months ago.
He did miss the headers, yeah, he did.
Yeah, but he didn't have a chance against Forest, did he? Well, did he had a couple of blocks, didn't he, in the first half? He could have easily scored then. And he, against Man City, missed one at the far post, didn't he?
Yeah.
So,
come on.
I think Ngamoa scored all of them.
Would he really?
We'll see. He probably won't start anyway.
No, and Endo won't start either. We're just,
But if you can play a 1-4 midfield, I can put Rio Ngamoa in on the left-hand side.
We'll see. I think mine's more likely.
Okay. Well, without further ado, let's make some predictions. I'll go with you first, Mark.
They're not going to lose again, are they? Are they?
Can this carry on?
Do you know what I was gonna start this podcast with that.
Save it for Monday.
We'll save Mick McCarthy for Monday. Yeah.
Let's have the battling late goal 1-0 win to me.
The 1-0 win.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying as well.
You're going for that. Yeah. Okay. Is it a hat trick?
Yes.
No.
What?
Because I'm going to predict that we're going to lose 2-1.
Okay.
Wow, God, everyone says I'm the misery around here.
I've done it with a smile on my face.
No, that's okay then. It's like you're just going to go shoot somebody. Hey!
I'm not going to do that. Yeah, look, that is the first time I think I've ever predicted a defeat on one of these podcasts. But
By definition, most of your other predictions this
Well,
year was
I was going to say, I think the last 12 were wrong. So it's just a bit of reverse psychology, really, isn't it?
Or is it?
I've got a motive bet on Liverpool to lose.
You pin this on West Ham's dressing room.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you pin a podcast on?
You probably can't.
No, print it out. Who's going to transcribe it? AI can do it. AI can do everything.
Gemini.
It won't be long before we're just 3 AI constructs of just our voices that people can listen to.
A 2-1, yeah. I don't see how it's going to change. And it will change if the attitude improves and the effort is there. That's what can change it for me, not necessarily formations and whatnot. But so I'm going to say 2-1 defeat, and obviously I hope I'm wrong. Any more to add before we wrap this up?
I think we're done.
I think we're done. Hope you feel a lot better after we took you through that therapy session. Will you be in Stratford? Stafford? Not Stafford.
I'm driving past Stafford on the way to Stratford.
Will you stop at the services?
No, it's too early. Way too early. I'll be stopping at the service at some point, but it'll probably be on the M1 somewhere.
Fair enough.
Toddington tends to be there.
Oxford?
No, it's M40. Not going that way.
Fair play. But you'll be at West Ham.
Oh yeah.
And who's with you?
Mr. PG, the
Paul
PG
Gorst.
tip, Paul Gorst, the tall Paul. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so you can follow Liverpool Echo's coverage from London on Sunday. Ian Doyle and Paul Gorst will be there, and then we'll be back with more Blood Red next week. Have a great weekend.
This is the Blood Red podcast from the Liverpool Echo, giving you the inside track on all the big talking points from Anfield.